are
There we go.
live. There we go. Hey, everybody. Hi, it's May the 4th be with you, and this is the snooze. Um, I am not drawing a blank. It's just I was going to say something, but forget about it. Oh, this is the snooze. It's not fake news. It's the snooze. And earlier today, Dylan, I was thinking, they say if you snooze, you lose, but I think if you snooze, you win.
Oh, yeah.
And with me tonight, as usual, to talk about Face Off, a little bit of Doctor Who, some Star Wars stuff, some comic book stuff, some Snark Stock stuff, is my buddy, Mr. Dylan Lang. So give it up for Dylan.
The original pre-existing condition. That's me. Sorry, I had to say it. I'm kind of grumpy about what's going on in the government today, but we're not here to talk about the government. We're here to talk about Snark birthdays. And let me just check something real quick because I think there's something wrong with my. There we go. Finally, my my cord here. I got the power cord. I don't like to use the battery on it. Oh, it came off again. That's weird. It was not charging via the cord, and now it is. And now it isn't. Weird. I'll be playing with this all day. Anyway, here's the birthday. There we go. I got up there now. The birthdays. Sorry about that. Now it's charging. Birthdays tomorrow, the Cinco de Mayo. Yeah, Cinco de Mayo. We've got
Cinco de Mayo.
James Graves Jr. His birthday is May 5th. My nephew's birthday is also May 5th, so happy birthday to Carson. May 12th, Rob Mulig. So Rob's birthday is next Friday. Then all the way down to May 28th, it's Jen 528. That's Jen's birthday. And then we segue into June real quick. June 1st is a major friend of the show and of all Snark Alex, big and tall, is our friend, Official Pagan. Mr. Mike Belinsky's birthday is June 1st, allegedly. And then June 8th, which is probably going to be the next time we'll do a snooze, is Jackie Barker's birthday. So that is the snooze birthdays. Back to you, Tony.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Snark Stock first. So if you plan on attending Snark Stock this year, you must get back to Myrna by this weekend, I believe she said. So do it. Before the show started, Dylan and I had a little conversation about, what was going on. And unfortunately, I will not be attending because in the following month, I'm going to be going on a big trip down to Orlando, Florida. For my daughter's 16th birthday. We're going to be spending a week down there. So that is mucho expensivo. And I'm not going to be able to swing a weekend going down to Georgia would be somewhat pricey, and I just can't swing it with everything else that's going on. And Dylan told me he may or may not be attending, which is unfortunate. However, probably starting with the next show, we're going to plan a little mini Snark Stock, like maybe like a dinner up here in Philly, because there's a lot of people that can't make it, and a lot of those people are from, like the New York, Connecticut area and the PA area. So we're going to do something, and it might be in August, but August gets a little bit tight. Like I'm going to be gone for a week, and then I'm home for a week, and then my daughter's got to go back into school, so I got that crap, and then the other one's got to get ready to go back to school too. So I'm thinking mid-September, like mid to late September at the latest, maybe something earlier, where we pick a Saturday and we just meet up someplace in Philly, hang out for a little while, and then go to dinner. Nothing like what we did last time with Eastern State, like spending a whole day and stuff, but at least a couple hours. And if we can make it so we've got some place to hang out after we have dinner for a little while, that'd be great. But That's all tentative, and that's coming up in June. So, at the top of the show, we said we were going to talk about Face Off. Want to get that out of the way real quick. Dylan, your thoughts on this season and the winner.
I thought it was the perfect choice. I think Sig. It seemed to me he was getting better later in the season. I personally, I mean, he was good the whole season, but he just seemed like once he started getting doing the solo jobs, he started really showing his craft, and deservedly so. He won the face-off All-Stars this year, and I believe he deserved it. The trio they had in there with George and Emily, they all belonged to be in there also. So I was very proud of that. The season was a very interesting one. Started off with the groups, and we had this discussion last month or a few months ago when it first came out. We were kind of wary about the group thing, but then they did the switch once it got down a little slower where they had to do it individually, because I thought, to me, the way things were going, I thought they were going to win it as a group, but then they kept saying one car and one trip, and I didn't think they'd be able to spread it between two people, so they might have had the budget. So I thought, that's interesting. I guess they'll have to figure it out themselves if they're the winners. But then when they split them up into groups and saying, okay, you're going to be individual from now on, that's great. But the one thing I wanted to bring up, which is one of the reasons why we love the show so much, is there was one scene from the gargoyle one where it was the final four, and Emily was having a trouble with her design or something like that, and all the contestants looked at her stuff and gave her suggestions. They helped her out in helping her get her makeup done properly. And I thought that was one of the coolest things. I mean, they sat there and they said, why don't you do this? And you might want to do that. And they weren't working on their own stuff. They weren't treating it like the competition. I thought that was very cool. And that's one of the reasons why I know we like the show, because they do have this aspect where they like to work together and they're very kind to each other. And that one just really blew me away. But I was fairly happy with it. I am hoping that we go back to straight up individual new people. Nothing wrong with seeing the All-Stars. I like to see them every once in a while, but I like to see some new blood and some new faces and maybe some new ideas. What about you, Tony?
I agree with you 99%. I loved Sig's work this season. But I feel that this season, more than ever, especially when it got down to the last 4 or 5 weeks, that a bad week could kill you. And I think that's what killed Tyler. Because I think Tyler was also, like, if you would have taken out anybody from the final 3 and put Tyler in, I would have said, for the most part, he deserved to be there. But you can't have a bad week when the talent is that good. As far as Sig is concerned, I think where he really shone this season was that he was always going for the goofy stuff. And he reined that back most of the time. But when he had to do it, he did it. And he did some phenomenal pieces. And in the finale, I didn't see the whole episode. Actually, when I first watched it, like when it was on live, I started watching it at about 9:45. So I just saw them. They were doing the filming thing. And when I saw Sig's Lion Man, and he aged him, and like there was no reason to age him other than because it was the character that he created, I thought it was phenomenal because he looked like it was a tiger, not a lion, correct?
I think it was a tiger, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So his tiger man aged. You looked at it and it looked like a tiger man who aged. Like, it was beautiful. It was fun. And I was a big fan of Emily and Tyler all season long. I love the stuff that Sig was putting out. He did a lot of phenomenal work. And there are people on the show. Ben, okay? Ben is a great artist. Ben's problem is he's not a very big idea guy. Like, if you point him in a direction, he can go there. But that's one of the things that held him back, and that's what held him back in the season that he was in, and why he failed this season, where you have to have a good. I don't even want to say you have to have a good concept. You have to have a concept that you can translate into a makeup, and I don't think like Ben, as far as he was concerned. And then there was the other guy with the funny hair, um, who was his partner.
George.
The guy.
Oh, or Evan. Evan was
Evan.
Ben's. Okay.
Okay. And am I thinking of Evan? He's the guy that had, like, sometimes it was pink on the sides, pushed back a little bit. That was
no. That was that's Adam. That was Adam.
Adam.
Evan's the one that looks like Jeremy Piven. Had the brown hair and yeah.
Adam's problem was, like, when he was in a group, whatever, it's like, there's something, that's not right. Okay, I understand. You see something and you don't think it's right. That's all well and good. But you should have a suggestion to, okay, this isn't working for me. Let's try this or let's try that. And he could always tell you when he thought something wasn't good or what, it wasn't translating, but he couldn't tell you how to fix it. And I actually tweeted that out, and I didn't tweet at him because I hardly ever tweet at the contestants, but I was like, Adam, dude, like, when if you're going to say it's not good, you have to have something behind it. Let's try this. You have to have an idea. And he favored it because I guess he agreed. Like, it wasn't, I wasn't saying anything negative, but, like, you can't say that's a piece of shit. Because as we know from past episodes, hey, you can take a piece of shit, you can polish it up as much as you want. You can polish that turd. It's still a fucking turd, This is what we learned from Face Off.
Yeah.
But it's a great show. And my kids kind of watch it with me now, but when they were younger, and especially the younger one, and I shared this on the show and I shared this with Dylan, my kid used to be scared of everything. She started watching Face Off with me, and she, that when they do the transitional makeup where they show the model and then the transition to the full makeup, like, the kid learned, like, yeah, it's all fake, and I'm sure she's still scared of stuff, but she loves horror movies and slasher movies and stuff now. So, and stuff that she wouldn't watch when she was like 11, 12, she's watching now.
Right.
So,
I mean, and that's the neat thing is, as I told you earlier, Noelle's gotten involved, really, really excited about wanting to watch it. And she watched every episode with us and really enjoyed it. So it was great. Yeah, I think that's what Scotty's talking about.
No, he's talking about what? That thing back there? That thing in the back? That thing hanging there? Yeah. Hold on. It's not a jockstrap, Scotty.
Scott wants to see this jockstrap.
This is what it is. See? Not jockstrap.
It's like a towel or something. I think my guardian angel drinks.
Yeah, it's not a jockstrap. I don't know why that was there, and I don't know why my Black Sabbath is upside down either.
Well, Black Sabbath, it's devil music, so it's upside down. So
hey,
why devil was listening to it?
Yeah. So yeah, it was a great season. And like I said earlier, this season more than ever because, it didn't take long for the weaker contestants to get knocked out, and then when right before they broke up into individuals, I mean, everybody that was still there was pretty strong.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about that show, and you've watched it, so I don't know if you agree, but at the beginning of the show, like, when they're told what the challenge is, everybody would come up with some of these like really great ideas, and some ideas like, yeah, that doesn't sound good. And then when you see the makeup, the thing that didn't sound good, like freaking awesome, and the thing that sounded great, they didn't translate it into a makeup. It's a really weird show, but it's one of those it's one of those things where a lot of it, I mean, uh, sometimes I feel that the TV doesn't do the makeup justice. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
like sometimes like I'd look at something and I'd say, I don't like that. And then the judge is, oh wow, this is great. And it's like they look at it from an artistic way, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm a fucking dope. But I think I was right every episode this season that I tweeted out a winner and a loser. I got it right every time. So hey, um, next year, next season, and next season's coming up real quick too. Like, aren't they doing it in June? Like, is it starting
Is it?
or something?
I don't know. I haven't heard a date when they were coming. I mean, I know they're going to start getting into some more of their regular TV shows again. I don't know about Face Off coming back. I mean, it would seem rather odd to jump right back in, but I mean, I guess I guess it makes sense that it took a year in between this season and the last one. I don't know. I'd have to follow up because they didn't really give a date or anything like that. Well, if it did, the DVR cut off because I had to DVR it, but I don't know if it gave a date. I haven't seen anything.
Got summer plans. Da, da, da. Okay, wait, hold on. I clicked the link in the stuff that I was reading. June 13th.
June 13th, really?
Tuesday, June 13th, it's coming back. And 12 Monkeys is coming back. If we're going to get along, go along those lines. Looking forward to that. That's a phenomenal show. I'm really looking. Get the
Wow,
face off.
that's fast. I didn't think it was going to be that fast.
Yeah. Well, you want to know something? It's a popular show. And it's probably, it doesn't cost them a lot of money. You know what I mean? I don't know how long it takes them to film, like 3 weeks, maybe a month tops, because it's like they're doing 2 challenges a week, depending on how much time they're given for them. And let's face it, in the real world, they come up with several concepts. If they're doing a movie, they come up with several concepts, and it starts with a drawing, and then they talk to the director and the producer and whoever they've got to talk to, and they say, okay, show me this and show me that, and they give them like a week or whatever. So they got time to play with it. It's not like they have to do really. What these people are doing is amazing because they are doing it in 2 days. What, usually takes a lot longer than that in the real world. It's usually not that fast pace, except I guess when they're filming and then they have to be on set because, okay, we're filming now. Okay, in between they got to make sure everything still sticks on.
But at the same time, though, they have the makeup already set, though. It's just basically when they're filming the movie, the actor goes in, sits down, 3 hours, boom, it's applied, and boom, you're gone. They're not creating it on the fly, which is what this show is. So, I mean, it is fast-paced and stuff, but it's nowhere near at all like Face Off because at that point, they've already got the designs, the concept, and the makeup already done. They've already tested it. They know what it looks like.
Right.
I mean, a good example, I mean, with Guardians of the Galaxy coming out tomorrow, I mean, Gamora and her all green costume and her sister with the bald head and stuff like that. She's gonna, it's gonna take a few hours to get the makeup on. They've got it already set and planned. Just a matter of getting it done. So, but yeah, that's what makes the show so great is that they can do that and do such creative ones to do it.
Yeah. So and in case you didn't know, once they make a mold, they use it over and over and over again most of the time, unless they screw up the mold and then they have to maybe make a new sculpt, but I'm sure they have ways around that also.
Maybe they do multiple ones, in case it does wear and tear and stuff like that. Yeah, maybe they do multiple ones.
It is quite possible, but but yeah, so it's coming back June. It's coming back at the beginning of June,
Very
which
impressive.
is cool. Have you taken a peek at that show that comes after the movie?
Cosplay Melee? No, I haven't. No, my TV watching has been severely cut recently. I don't know why. I just haven't had the desire or the effort to do it, I guess. But did you
Yeah.
check it out?
Uh, no. I mean, like, there may have been a time or two when, okay, Face Off is over, and now I'm up and around doing stuff, and I didn't shut the TV off or change the channel because I wasn't motivated to pick up the remote control. Uh, but yeah, that show is not for me. I don't like the I don't want to say I don't like cosplay, but I don't like the people. Like the one or two times when it was on for the first couple of minutes, and I was, like I'd stop and listen to the people. Like these people are just strange, for want of a better word. Not that I'm not strange, but hey, I like people that are strange like me. That's why I hang out with Dylan because he's strange, but he's like me. Um, but no, I haven't watched that. I'm not. Okay, so since we lost The Walking Dead, let's go through the nights of the week. Monday, I don't watch TV. Um, Tuesday, I don't watch TV. Wednesday, um, I've been kind of watching Criminal Minds, but not on Wednesday. I've been kind of watching Empire when it's on, which is it recently came back on, but not on Wednesday. And I'm kind of watching SVU, which comes on at 9 o'clock on Wednesday. I don't watch anything on Wednesday. Um, I don't watch anything on Thursday. Um, Friday, if I happen to be home, which I haven't been around recently, I might watch Scary Social on Chiller. Um, Saturday, I've been watching Doctor Who,
There
which
you go.
just came
Nice
back.
segue.
It just came back. We're 4 episodes in, and Dylan has not been watching, which I'm a little bit surprised. Been busy.
Yeah, I haven't even caught up. I haven't watched it in almost a year or so. I haven't been watching any of the old Doctors to get caught up. So I haven't seen any of the Doctor Who's in almost over a year. So
Wow.
it's just the way things go. I mean, I know everybody works a long job. I have a long job. I get up early, like I'm sure you do. Younger kids doing their activities, stuff like that. And then by the time we get them in bed and loosened up and read them stories, by the time we're done, it's like 9:30, and we're like, I don't really feel like doing anything. And by then it's too early. It's too late to start a movie because we get up at 5 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. We have to get to work. So we just sort of sit down on our sofa, Dawn and I, and we just sort of look at our social media for like half an hour. We're like, okay, time for bed. That's what we do. So
Okay. So Myrna's gonna start a show because she says we need a good show for the group. We need a good show. Okay. Give me one.
let's find one.
Find one. And I will shoot it down because it's not good if it's on TV. I will tell you. I mean, some of the best stuff now is not on TV or on cable. Actually, I haven't watched the last two Doctor Who's live. They've been DVR'd, and they've got this new Doctor Who spinoff called Class, and it's all right. It's a little bit. I don't know. I mean, I've watched it, and I'm still watching it. Like I'm caught up with that. Um, it's all right, but with Doctor Who, it's the new companion. So they're having a little bit of fun with that. She's Billy. She's all right. I mean, the way it is with every new companion, there's a little bit of breaking in that has to happen. I'm still gonna say that Clara and Rose are my favorite all time. I would love to see them do more with River. Um, but let's see. We'll see.
And then we'll see what happens once they end the season because that's it for Capaldi. So they're going to go brand new, and for Moffat also. So they're going to go in like a whole new.
Capaldi hasn't been around. Like, what is this? Only 2 seasons?
Third. It's his third season.
It's his 3rd season. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. You want to know something? I mean, it takes a little getting used to, like when there's a transition from doctor to doctor, there is a little bit of getting used to. But I mean, I like Capaldi's doctor. But hey, if they're going to offer him and they're going to put someone else in there, that's that's fine. That's fine.
Hopefully, it'll be interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, they always do that though. Like they'll introduce you'll get a companion or you'll get a couple of companions or whatever, and sometimes I don't know. David Tennant had a nice long run, and what's his name, Smith had a nice long run. So it just feels short. It just feels short.
Yeah.
So, but oh, was that your cat? Good night.
Mr. Tony says good night. She laughed, smiled.
She should be in bed 25 minutes ago.
Well, she had dance, so she got dance goes to 8:15 to 9. It's a weird time, and then it actually went over till about 9:15, and so.
Are you getting close to recital time?
Yes, they have two more classes, and then it's actually I think it's Memorial Day weekend actually is when her recital is. So, but she said this last year, but I think this time I think this might be it. She might be done with dance. She's focusing more, and this is good, I guess. She's focusing more on her schoolwork. I mean, she likes to. It's a Thursday night. It's kind of rough from 8:15 to 9. She usually has quizzes on Friday, so she likes to study a little bit more because she wants to do good. And so, she's afraid that if she has this, it's not going to work. Type of thing. We'll see. I mean, she said it last year, and she changed her mind in the summertime, and she went in and did it. So we'll see.
Yeah, well, that's what happened to Vicky. Wanted to. Because of dance, she could not get involved in some of the extracurricular activities at school she wanted to be involved in, like she was in play, and it was interfering with chorus and the chorus performances. So she was in play, and that was one of the reasons, especially near the end, I was constantly rushing her back and forth to school. The play ended last weekend. She went down to Virginia. I think they were down in Williamsburg, and
nice.
Yes, our high school won the competition. So it was awesome. She left on take your kid to work day Thursday, which our school was closed, so she didn't miss a day of school there. She missed Friday though. They traveled on Thursday. First performance was on Friday. Saturday was the finals, and then they came home on Sunday. And now we're starting slowly but surely. The older one, we're starting to take some of her stuff home. The only thing that we got going for us is she goes to school in Philly. So when I can, as a matter of fact, I drove by there today with 3 big empty bins for her. Hey, fill them up, and we're gonna go down tomorrow evening, and she's gonna have 5 bins for us, and it looks like on the day that on next Friday, which is her last day of school, our last final, we will be moving out potentially her TV and refrigerator, and that's it.
Nice.
And whatever clothes she has, like she's going to have a bin. Anything that she wears, once it's done, it's going into the bin, and everything else is going into that bin. And hopefully, because she's got to be out by Saturday evening. So, and Friday and Saturday are going to be a big mess down there. So it's like, if, hey, I just got a refrigerator and I got my own little dolly. I don't even need to use the school's dolly. I got my own dolly. I'll bring my own dolly with me. No, it's okay. I'm good.
Nice.
So, and that's what I've been doing. Like, when one ends, the other one starts, and then this, and it's just been crazy lately. So, hey, we talked about Doctor Who. We talked about Face
Yeah.
Off. We haven't mentioned Star Wars, because today is May the 4th be with you. So, have you seen the teaser slash trailer for the movie coming out in Christmas?
Yeah, Last Jedi.
Uh huh. Okay, so tell me what you think.
It looks like they're going for an Empire Strikes Back vibe. It looks like, the bad guys are going to get the upper hand a few times with the destruction of Poe's X-wing, and Rey is learning her Jedi stuff, and then you've got the Mark Hamill's breathy narration in the background's kind of creepy, mentioning the last of the Jedi and so on and so forth. And then you get Kylo Ren's getting a good new look and everything. So it just looks like it's, and all the fighting. There's going to be some Star Wars, which is what the whole movie's about. Looks like there's going to be a battle in the space.
If there's going to be actually a Star Wars, I'm going to tell you, Mark Hamill's voiceovers in the background, I was getting such an Obi-Wan vibe from that, because I guess, the student has become the teacher at this point. And I guess, unless, I know there's a lot of Star Trek lore out there, and there's contradicting lore too. And what becomes canon and what doesn't, it really, because if you go out and you look for a Star Wars family tree or a Star Wars genealogy, you can come out with at least 10 or 15 different genealogies based on what author has written what, and most of them are extremely similar, but there's different, and I guess everything that's out there that Star Wars has to be, okayed before they publish it, or you can't put, Star Wars on it. So
yeah, when Disney acquired it, they created a new this is the Star Wars mythos, and that upset a lot of people. It got rid of a lot of the stuff that people had grown up on and read before Disney acquired it, and they're slowly but surely bringing some aspects of it back in. Like Thrawn is a big deal. He was the bad guy in the initial trilogy that came out back when the whole Star Wars novels started ramping up again, like in the 90s, I guess it was. Tim Zahn's trilogy, and Thrawn was one of the bad guys, and he became a fan favorite. But then when Disney took over, it was like, nope, didn't happen. It's gone. And then they've been slowly bringing him back in. They created a new aspect to Thrawn, and they're using the cartoons. Now, have you seen Rebels or Clone Wars?
I actually have been watching. It's on Netflix, so I've been watching Clone Wars. And they're like 22 minutes long each, you know what I mean? And when I get a chance, I'll sit down and I'll watch them. But I've seen some of that, and I think it's interesting.
I like it because, seeing the relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin, you're actually getting what Alec Guinness was saying in Star Wars, how he and Anakin were good friends, stuff like that. But in the prequels, it was Anakin being a snivelly little brat, whining about everything, and I didn't see a camaraderie or friendship between them. It was more of a hatred of teacher-student, maybe a little bit of respect there, but it was like a father-son, teacher-student type of thing, and it didn't seem like the friendship the way Alec Guinness like leans back and says, yeah, he was a good friend. I didn't see it, but in the Clone Wars, I'm actually getting to see a little bit more. Plus, I like the idea of giving Anakin a Padawan in Ahsoka Tano, who is a great character, who is canon. So she is actually in the Star Wars world now. And if they ever wanted to, they could bring her into they could make a standalone live action Ahsoka Tano movie if they wanted to. They've even got a novel out about her. She's in there too. So I like the Clone Wars because you got to see a deepening of the relationship between Anakin and Obi-Wan, and you actually get to see what to me is maybe a more realistic downfall for Anakin as he's in war and the dark side is starting to try to fight its way in, and he doesn't want to do it, but he uses it sometimes, and you're seeing him really fight with it, and then having Ahsoka there to try to level him out, and then something happens to Ahsoka and he starts losing it. That's what I like about it. And then I haven't watched any Rebels yet, but I've heard that's really, really good as well. But that's where Thrawn is coming back in, and then they've got this novel that just came out, which introduces Thrawn, which is supposed to open up some theories about Snoke and what's going on in this more recent trilogy is what's going on in the novels they have out now. So,
and well, you also have the interesting thing about the whole story that we've got so far, and I'm going to talk specifically about the films because I'm not going to go into any book stuff.
That's fine.
We don't know what Luke has been doing since the last movie he was in. Okay, so we don't know what occurred with him, and they could always go back and because I don't think they can reboot Star Wars like they did with Star Trek and bring in new. I don't think that you could get away with it in Star Trek, but I don't think you could get away with it in Star Wars because the characters and the actors are in those roles so beloved. Not that Shatner wasn't a great, isn't beloved as Kirk, but I think with all of the other things that they've done in the Star Trek universe, I think the reboot is what they needed to start a whole new, different universe and new storyline. I don't think that would work in Star Wars. It just wouldn't.
But I like what they did with Force Awakens, where they're introducing new characters and a logical progression in history, where the old characters are now the mentors and the people who are there, and these new kids are the ones. And then you want to follow what's going on with them. We're only going to get 2 more movies out of them as of now, 2 more movies with Poe and Rey and all them, and then we'll see what happens after that. Right now they say they've got plans for like 2030 now for Star Wars stuff.
Well,
so
they can always go into Luke's. They could do a Luke childhood movie if they wanted to. With ending, with him getting the droids. They can do, Luke the missing years. We're going to get a Han Solo story. We know that's the next standalone movie that's coming out. So there's a lot of things they can do, and they could always go back to the Clone Wars and tell stories back then. I think they can take a look at Anakin's past and possibly the only thing they could do is maybe elaborate more on Anakin and Ben, because movie-wise, there was a camaraderie there between Ben and Anakin, although Ben was the teacher and he was still the pupil. They weren't exactly equals, and I don't even think there was room for them to show in the movie how Anakin becoming Ben's equal. At one point in the movie, it seemed like they were there, but there wasn't enough of that, like you said, of them being comrades as opposed to, teacher-student, mentor relationship. So, yeah, a lot of interesting things that they can do with those stories. They can do, Han Solo and Chewbacca have, there's a series of books just about them, and some of the things that they did. I'm just wondering, in the Han Solo movie, are we going to see a young Landau?
Yes, we are.
Yeah,
They've already cast him. Yep. Mhm.
okay, so we're gonna see that. Uh, they show the Falcon in the teaser trailer.
Yeah.
Okay, so who's
Who's
Chewie's
flying
co-pilot?
it?
You see, because yeah, is Chewie flying it? And if Chewie's flying it, who's his co-pilot? Is it is it Leia? Is Leia flying the Falcon? Um, or is it possibly Mark Hamill? In the Falcon with Leia and Chewbacca. We don't know. I can't wait for the movie to come out.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Yeah.
But in that vein, I figured, besides us just swap and spit about Star Wars, there would have to be some kind of news, and I stumbled upon an article that has allegedly the 40th greatest Star Wars quotes, and I'm going to say I think it says of all time, but let's say to date. So we're gonna go through these, and you want odd numbers or even numbers still? Well, you see,
I'll take the even numbers. It's fine. If you want to be
okay,
number one, that's fine.
I want to be number one. I just realized I'm just giving you a choice, and you could have taken number one. And when it comes to when we get down to the top 10, we could say whether or not we agree or disagree on the
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Well, number 40 is actually a really funny one because this is the one where Princess Leia was trying to, or Carrie Fisher, I should say, was trying to figure out how Leia was going to talk in Star Wars. And this is one line. She's got this kind of snooty British type of accent. It's Governor talking. I should have expected to find you holding Vader's leash. I recognized your foul stench when I was brought on board. And that was exactly how she said it.
I kind of remember the first sentence of that quote being with that English accent, and the second, because in that movie it was on again, off again with the British accent. It's like she just forget.
The more slips through your fingers. Isn't that the time when she says that down the line? It's like, okay.
So the next one is a little bit more recent, and this is from Padme Amidala. And she's talking about when they witnessed the birth of the Empire in Revenge of the Sith. Oh my goodness gracious! So this is how Liberty dies, with thunderous applause. I don't know. I don't know if that belongs up there.
Well, no, but it's funny. But the thing is, I think the reason why they put it on there is because it's now being used with the empire that's been building the United States right now. So they've been using that as sort of a connective thread between Star Wars and what's going on in our government right now. It just seems kind of funny. I think that's why it's in there. Number 38. Okay, this is from Star Wars again, the original one, New Hope. This is from Obi-Wan Kenobi, as he's sort of offhandedly putting down Han Solo. Who's the more foolish, the fool or the fool who follows him? Makes sense. I mean, who is more foolish, the fool or the fool who follows him?
Kylo Ren. He's he's talking to the Vader shrine that he had in The Force Awakens. Show me again the power of darkness, and I'll let nothing stand in our way. Grandfather.
Interesting.
You are my grandfather.
I got one from Return of the Jedi. Sweet. This one is probably one of the few C-3PO ones going to be on here from Return of the Jedi. He's holding a thermal detonator.
I love that.
Job of that to imminent danger from this guy's Leia.
He's holding a thermal detonator.
And he raises his hand, and then Boba Fett brings his gun out. And then Jabba's like, ha, 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 ha. Because Jabba's badass.
Okay, so this is Obi-Wan feeling the need to point out what a mess Anakin Skywalker has made of things following their climatic battle in Revenge of the Sith. You were the chosen one. It was said that you would destroy the Sith, not join them. bring balance to the Force, not leave it in darkness. Again, I don't know if their definition of great lines and my definition of great lines are the same. And
at the same time, there's 40 of them, so I mean, I guess some of them gotta.
Well, they could have made it 20.
Yeah, I guess they could have. Yeah. All right. This is from Rogue One, which I still haven't seen yet. So please, you can yell at me, scream at me all you want. I'm planning on probably seeing it this weekend, or actually probably tomorrow, because I'm actually off tomorrow. So I'm taking the day off tomorrow. So maybe I'll watch it. It's supposed to be raining all day. We'll take the next chance and the next, on and on until we win or the chances are spent. That's Jyn Erso hyping up her troops for the mission to Scarif. So I'm guessing they know they're all going to die, and it doesn't matter.
They don't know. I mean, you never go on a mission
I know.
expecting to die. They didn't think that their chances were good, but now
you have to read this as Yoda. You have to read this as Yoda.
When 900 years old you reach, look as good. You will not.
Damn, that's good.
And that's Yoda. Okay. And at least I would say that's a great quote. That's a great quote from Yoda. They could have done easily 2 or 3 Yoda quotes. At least one. We know at least one is going to be in the top 10.
Yeah, absolutely. And now this one is from the most recent Force Awakens, and actually it is actually pretty interesting because it basically makes Han Solo, after what he said in New Hope, where he doesn't believe in the Force and all that stuff. All of a sudden, and I guess, being married to someone who had the Force and having a brother-in-law who had the Force and so on and so forth. Eventually, Han has come to the realization, and this is the quote, "Crazy thing is, it's true. The Force, the Jedi, all of it, it's all true." And that's what he says to Rey and Finn in The Force Awakens. And we know that, for 25, 30 years, whatever, he's been living with this, so he's accepted it, but he's finally brought it out in the movies to say, I accept this now, after making fun of it, basically, in Star Wars.
Well, and he made fun of it in the first movie, but in that sense, he was also talking about, hey, yeah, he was there with Luke Skywalker, and he saw that shit. So all of those stories, those particular ones, the Jedi, the Force, all that stuff, yeah, that's true. So yeah, okay. That I would say that deserves to be there.
I say this one all the time. And you get Yoda again.
Okay. And they say this is his best quote. No, this is not.
No, from the prequels. From the prequels, it says best quote from the prequels.
Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
Funny is, didn't he use that in the original trilogy? I thought he did that in the original trilogy.
He did that in the original trilogy. Well,
maybe not exactly that way, but isn't in Empire maybe when he's training Luke up?
I think he said something similar when he was teaching Luke in The Empire Strikes Back. I thought he said something extremely similar to that.
I can't do a good Yoda, but I'll try. My number 30 is, if you end your training now, if you choose the quick and easy path as Vader did, you will become an agent of evil. And that's what he says to Luke at Empire Strikes Back when Luke is running off to save Leia and Han.
And the one little thing about this, I mean, did Anakin take the quick and easy path? Because he was going through all of the training. But, I mean, he did want to save his mother. I mean, I guess he wasn't a full...
Eh, eh. I don't know. I guess the one you're about ready to do, I need some context.
Um, yeah, Leia and Han see each other like for the first time in years, and they're estranged, and I forget exactly what they were arguing about, but Han says, "When did that ever help?" And don't say the Death Star, you know. Um,
Which is a cute line, I guess, but you need more context, though, and then just to use that specific part of the line. I mean, I get it. I do. Uh, Number 28. This is also from The Force Awakens. Your son is gone. He was weak and foolish like his father, so I destroyed him. It's Kylo Ren to Han Solo that this is not going to be a father and son bonding session. Now, I still believe, I think I mentioned this before in the show, I still believe that Han sacrificed himself. I do not believe Kylo Ren killed him. I don't believe Kylo Ren could kill his father, but in order to advance or move on or whatever, and maybe help Kylo, Han decided to sacrifice himself, and I think that he took the lightsaber and shoved it through his chest. I don't know. I just one of the things I got out of that.
okay, you two are weird. Did you hit your heads? Those Star Wars voices. Hey. Okay. I don't understand.
It's
Another
Yoda, Myrna. When he talks.
another quote from Rogue One, and it does need some context, but I'm not going to give it because I don't want to give anything away. But this is a pretty funny quote. Congratulations, you are being rescued. Please do not resist.
K2S. Is that the big black one?
Yeah, well, it's good. I mean, I love that movie. That movie was the thing that sucks about the movie is the ending. You know, like you didn't want it to end, like because by the time you got to the end, you kind of like the characters. But hey, if you don't know that everybody's going to die going into the movie, then you're really not a Star Wars fan because this story is known. The specific details and the actual cast, the people involved, you didn't, but you did know that many people died to get those plans. So, and now you know if you watch this movie, you see the whole story, and it's like, wow.
Actually, I like number 26. I've said it before. Pal Ian McDiarmid says it. He plays the Emperor. This is from Return of the Jedi. Young Skywalker, you will die, and just shoots him with the Force lightning, and that's the final part right before Darth Vader changes and picks him up and throws him down the shaft. So that's the last line the Emperor actually says, besides "ah." He falls down the
Okay, now we got a couple of pretty good ones coming up. This happens to be one of my and a lot of Star Wars fans' all-time favorite quotes. While you stuck up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder, and that's Leia chewing out Han, and then Han gets upset, turns around and says, "Who are you calling a nerf herder?" Which is like,
who you calling Scruffy? No, who you calling Scruffy?
oh, scruffy looking, right. Scruffy looking? Who's scruffy looking? Like, I guess it's not bad being a nerf herder, but scruffy looking is really bad.
That is a good line. I like this one.
Yeah, okay.
I love how Frank Oz voices Yoda in this one from Empire Strikes Back. Ready are you, What know you of ready? For 800 years I have trained Jedi. My own counsel will I keep on who is to be trained. A Jedi must have the deepest commitment, the most serious mind. This one, a long time have I watched. All his life has he looked away to the future, to the horizon, and I'm terrible at Yoda. Never his mind on where he was, on what he was doing. And just that extra point where Yoda is sticking the stick and making the emphasis on the never his mind on where he was, on what he was doing. I just like that. I like that sequence.
Another one. This doesn't give out too much, but it doesn't need a setup. This is from Jyn Erso when she's talking to the final failure. She says, "My father's revenge. He built a flaw in the Death Star. He put a fuse in the middle of your machine, and I've just told the entire galaxy how to light it."
Yeah. Kick ass.
Okay, you see? Now, top 20. You got a top 21. This is a classic Star Wars quote.
Absolutely. Number 22 is, you will...
Well, do you see they left out the first couple of words there? Mos Eisley Spaceport.
That's right, yes. Mos Eisley Spaceport. You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. Now, what I like is I like what they've turned it into a meme lately, and I like the one where they have them doing that, and it's like Washington, D.C. But no, that is a fantastic line, and let's face it, Mos Eisley is, that's what Mos Eisley is. Wow, you got a long one now from Rogue One.
Yes. What do you know? We don't all have the luxury of deciding when and where we want to care about something. Suddenly, the rebellion is real for you. Some of us live it. I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old. You're not the only one who lost everything. Some of us just decided to do something about it. And that was Cassian Andor's stirring speech to Jyn Erso after she accuses him of planning to shoot down her father in Rogue One.
Yeah, I really do need to see it now. I think I will. I mean, I'm going to see Guardians tomorrow early, and I'll probably catch it afterwards. I'll probably watch it afterwards. Number 20 is a good one. That is another one that is an iconic line, and the original one, and it's Obi-Wan to Darth Vader. "You can't win, Darth. Strike me down, I would become more powerful than you could possibly imagine." And then Darth Vader's like, "Yeah, whatever."
And then he steps on the empty cloak.
To make sure that, is he sure he's dead? Yeah, he's dead.
They never explained that one. Like, what the F happened to Obi-Wan? Did he just, turn into...
Disintegrate. Wow, lightsabers can do that? Sweet.
Yeah.
Then, every time they've cut off somebody's arm, it should just explode. It should just
go... So, very important moment in The Force Awakens. Supreme Leader Snoke question to Kylo Ren. "There has been an awakening. Have you felt it?" And we know what that is.
Rey's gonna kick some ass. Yeah. All right. Another classic one. I'm looking at your next one. It's funny. Another meme. Not mine. Number 18 is, "The Force is strong with this one." I'm sorry, let's see if I can do better. "The Force is strong with this one." Vader vies to halt Luke's assault on the Death Star. It's just they're flying and he's getting ready to shoot, and then he's like, "Whoa, the Force is strong with that one." So that's a pretty iconic line too. That one remembers.
Stormtrooper JB007. That's what the Stormtrooper's name is. Because I guess it was Daniel Craig that was actually the voice of that Stormtrooper, or actually maybe he even put the garb on.
I think he put the garb on, yeah.
Yeah. He dismisses Rey's attempt to mind trick him into submission by saying, "I'll tighten those restraints, scavenger scum."
Again, another, yeah, I wouldn't say it was number 17. I think that'd be like 36 or something like that. But I love the meme that they've come up with that. It's like, Rey's like, you can tighten my restraints and close the door. It's like going to be like some sort of BDSM type of thing. It's awesome. Number 16 is another, again, all the good ones. Sweet. Another iconic line from Star Wars when Princess Leia, meets her brother for the very first time, even though at that time she doesn't know it's her brother. When Leia meets Luke in Star Wars, aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper? Huh? And then Luke's, huh? My name's Luke Skywalker, I'm here to rescue you.
Yeah, and for those of you who may be casual Star Wars fans, the stormtroopers are all clones, so they're all the same size. And that's why, he stands out, because he was a little bit short. But that is one of those quotes that people pick up on from that movie, because it's just, and to this day now, if I'm watching Star Wars and the girls come in and they see Luke and Leia kiss, they go, "Oh, that's gross, that's her brother, ew." You're up.
No, you are.
Oh, I'm up. I'm sorry. I thought it was like, I'm looking at that like I said it. Chewie, we're home. Han and Chewbacca are right back at the Millennium Falcon after decades away in The Force Awakens.
It's a good line, but I don't know if I put it at 15. I might move it up in the 20s, maybe.
I think some of the lines from The Force Awakens haven't been around long enough for them to be great lines, but
right, that makes sense. You
are getting all the great ones, because I love this quote, because I use this quote all the time.
You've got a couple good ones coming up, though. Number 14 is, "I find your lack of faith disturbing." Vader makes ready with the force choke on sneering Imperial officer Conan Antonio Mati in Star Wars. "I find your lack of faith disturbing." I like that one too.
Next one. This one is it's a good quote. Is it great to be number 13? But when the Falcon escapes from the Imperial fleet and they're going to the asteroid field, C-3PO tells Han what the odds are of successfully navigating an asteroid field, and he says, "You never tell me the odds."
This one, I guess, is a pun that Darth Vader says in Rogue One. Number 12 is, "Be careful not to choke on your aspirations," just as he's about to choke character.
In Rogue One.
Now, the number 11 is a mistake. If you look at it, it's not from Star Wars. It's from Empire Strikes Back.
It's not from Empire Strikes Back. Exactly, but it happens. It happens a couple of times. I think don't they bring that back in the last movie?
Lando says it at the end of Empire when the same thing happens again, but I don't know. You haven't said it yet, so
yeah. So it's not my fault. Han Solo laments his own bad luck as the Millennium Falcon's hyperdrive fails in Star Wars.
Empire Strikes Back.
Well, I'm saying.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Because the hyperdrive didn't fail in Star Wars; it failed in The Empire Strikes Back. As a matter of fact, it failed several times.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying, is that this article has it attributed to Star Wars when it's Empire Strikes Back. I was just being a, not grammar Nazi, but a Nazi in general. Oh, I got a good one. This is a good one. Yeah, this is another iconic one. People use this one on wedding rings and stuff like that. Everyone who's seen Star Wars can pretty much guess where it is. Number 10, which I guess is good for number 10. "Leia, I love you. Han, I know." So, and Harrison Ford famously improvised this line. So,
and I think, not that it qualifies as a conversation, but the next quote I'm going to read is actually a conversation. So there's Obi-Wan and Yoda, and Obi-Wan says, "That boy is our last hope," and then Yoda says,
No, there is another.
And we believe at the time, and probably is, that the reference is to Leia. So,
Yep.
and that
Yeah,
was
here's
Empire Strikes Back.
this one is now we're getting to the classic ones. Number 8. These aren't the droids you're looking for. These aren't the droids you're looking for.
Deserves to be a top 10.
Yeah, it does. Obi-Wan uses the old Jedi mind trick on Stormtrooper in Star Wars.
Right after he says Mos Eisley spaceport. More, the quote that I had from before with the villainous scum bastards. Number 7, Obi-Wan to Luke, his final line to Luke in Star Wars. Remember, the Force will be with you always.
Yeah. I figured that'd be closer up. Not having seen Rogue One, I guess this is an important line from, but to go up number 6, I don't know. This is from Rogue One, and it's a ruined Galen Erso speaking directly to his daughter Jyn via hologram. Jyn, if you're listening, my beloved, so much of my life has been wasted. I try to think of you only in the moments when I'm strong, because the pain of not having you with me, your mother, our family, the pain of that loss is so overwhelming, I risk failing even now. It's just so hard not to think of you. Think of where you are, my Stardust.
Yeah, because her father called him Stardust, but you have to see the movie. It's a right. It doesn't deserve to be in the top 10. Like I said, when you have to have a paragraph, yeah, it doesn't deserve to be there. Unlike the next one, it's a trap. Okay? and that line, "it's a trap," is used in every movie, everywhere, all over the place. That's Admiral Akbar works out the obvious during the final space battle in Return of the Jedi.
Works out the obvious.
Yeah.
There's another one that was in every Star Wars movie. And I guess they're just saying here, and almost in Rogue One, in which K2SO is interrupted just before he can utter the line. It is the classic line that everybody has said at one time in the Star Wars movie. I have a bad feeling about this. I have a bad feeling about this.
Okay. Now, that's a great line.
It is.
Number 3, expect it to be in the top 10.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Which is Yoda teaching Luke. I'm trying. No, you do it or you don't. There is no trying.
Yeah, my boss at work is a huge Star Wars fan, and whenever he asks me to do like the impossible, I'm going to try. He always pulls that out, says, "Do or do not. There is no try." So it's still used around today. Number 2, to be honest, I would have flipped these two probably. I mean, it's a big line. Actually, I probably would have put "I had a bad feeling about this" down lower, but I didn't write this list up. Number 2 is a classic line that everybody likes to repeat that Leia says from Star Wars. "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope." That's when she's in the hologram in R2-D2, and it skips on repeat all the time until they get fixed, and then he plays the whole message for Obi-Wan and for Luke. So that's my number 2.
And, Ben doing a great job of hiding, because he changed, from that really obscure Obi-Wan, he changed his name to Ben, but he kept the Kenobi part,
That's the other thing also is, we know Darth Vader is Anakin Skywalker, or Darth Vader knows it was Anakin Skywalker. So why would you put his son Luke in Tatooine with the Skywalkers? I don't know. Well, you got number 1, son, and I guess this is the most iconic line in the Star Wars series.
No, I am your father. Luke, search your feelings. You know it's true.
No.
The greatest twist in Hollywood history?
I think so. Because no, this was it was 1980. It was before it was before the internet, before Snark Alex, before anyone could spoil anything. Nobody really knew anything about the movie because back then there was like 5 movie theaters in your state probably, and no, there's probably more than that, but not as many.
No, it was
you
just
had one. Yeah. Go ahead.
It was at the advent of new movie theaters opening up that were somewhat multiplexes, and them actually taking some of the existing movie theaters and cutting them from a single theater to multiple movie venues. Yeah. And that was back in the days when a movie came out and 2 months later it might still be at your local movie theater. That doesn't happen now. It goes in there. But I mean, back then when I was a kid, and this isn't could lead into an interesting story. They didn't have the distribution of they didn't have video. Hey, it's going to video. If you didn't catch a movie in the theaters, you waited a year and a half, and eventually it might come on TV. All cut up and edited and stuff, but you might see it on TV. Pre-cable, pre video store, pre DVD, pre on demand, pre all that stuff. But yesterday I was at this place. I was out in the boonies, out in PA, town. I was near a town called Limerick, and it's pretty rural.
Boonified.
Yeah, it's a boonified. I mean, I don't know if they would consider themselves a suburb. It's less than a suburb, more ruralish. And I was in a parking lot, and on the other side of the parking lot, well, right up past my space, there was a fence. And there was a church graveyard. And I happened to look over, and some lady was, the dates on her tombstone was 1888 to 1960. So someone who lived 78 years. And I was like, wow. So this person was born right around the time that Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone. But horses and carts were still, the main mode of local transportation, and they had trains, but it was before everything. And that person was born when there was horses still, in the streets to 1960. And I gotta tell you, growing up in Brooklyn, 1975, 1976, there was an old Italian dude that used to go through my neighborhood with a horse and a cart, and he used to sell fruits and vegetables. And this is like mid-70s stuff. So, I mean, not that was that long ago, but just to think that in 1970-something, there was still, and he wasn't the only one, there was a couple of guys. And after a certain point, like, the guy gave up the horse and the cart, and he got himself a little van, but even then the van went away. But the stuff that this person lived through and saw, like the advent of technology and the changes that they must have seen in their life. And I'm trying to think if there's any parallel in my life, in our life. I mean, I grew up without a computer. I grew up without a cell phone. I grew up when phones had wires, before the cordless phones, I'm sure, the same for you.
Yeah.
But I going from, if you had your own mode of transportation, it was an animal that you were riding on, or a cart that was being pulled by a live animal, opposed to, cars. I mean, cars have changed somewhat, but I mean, it's still basically a car,
Yeah, 4 wheels, door.
Have we seen
steering wheel? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you take the idea of a car, go back to the idea of a wagon. It's 4 wheels and some place for you to sit, and you pull the strings, turn the wheelie thing instead. But yeah, so I just thought that was kind of interesting. And then I got home, and when I got home, and this is the part that made me laugh hysterically. I came home and my daughter was doing the selfie thing, and she's snapping pictures. And so just think about this. When I was her age, not that anybody wanted to do it, but like nobody took a camera and took a picture of themselves. But if you did, okay, and when I was 15, we had something called Photomat, but you couldn't just take one picture. You had to finish the roll off. So I think, like, depending on what kind of, like, 24 exposures on 35 millimeter film. Okay, so you
they had different ones. They had 36, 24, 12, depending on which one you wanted to get. Yeah.
Which one you wanted to get. And so my parents, when I was a little kid, had a Kodak camera that you put a cartridge in. It wasn't 35 millimeter. It was like 212 or something like that. And so, like, you didn't have to, pull the film actually over like you did in a 35 millimeter camera. It was like a cartridge. But anyway, I digress. So if you wanted to take a selfie, you'd have to actually take a picture of yourself. Okay, and then you'd have to go to some place where they would develop it for you. And then you'd have to go through the pictures and see if you had a good one, if you got the shot. It's not like, think about it this way. Let's say you got drunk, right? And you decided you were going to take a picture of a certain part of your anatomy and you were going to send it to someone, okay? It wouldn't work back when I was a kid. Why? Because first of all, you'd have to take the picture. And then you'd have to finish off the roll. And then, the next day, okay, you were drunk last night. This morning you wake up and you realize you got a roll of film. And all it is pictures of your junk, But if you wanted to send it to someone, you didn't just push a button and boom, there it went, You'd actually have to go get it developed, right? Then go get an envelope, put the thing in the envelope, address it and stuff, put a stamp on it, bring it to the mailbox. I mean, it happened. So anyway, my kid's doing the selfie stuff, right? And like I watched her, because whenever she does selfies, like I always try and sneak around and get in behind her, so I pop up in one, and then she'll take that. And so I'm watching her, and she finally realized I was standing behind her, and I was like, "So you haven't gotten a good one yet?" And she just looked at me and said, "You don't understand, Dad. The struggle is real." And I was like, what struggle? Sweetie, you're trying to take a selfie. There's no struggle here.
No, to get back what you were saying, we had we call Arabbers, which are guys who up into the 70s and 80s would walk around with carts with horses and would sell fruit. And I always remember when I was younger, during the summertime, playing with my friends, stuff like that. And then in the background, you would hear somebody go, "Strawberries," and would just walk up and down the road. And they'd be, you'd see them, you look down your road, they'd be walking up the main road with their horse and their cart with their strawberries. And then they might stop at a corner, excuse me, and would buy his strawberries and apples or whatever fruit he had, and then he would just move on. Yeah, so we had that. And yeah, I remember the photomat booths in the strip malls and the parking lots, the little room for like one, maybe two people in there. You drove up, you gave them your stuff, they had the machine, and they saw the pictures. So if you were taking pictures of your junk, they were seeing the pictures of your junk. And if they thought it was funny, they knew how to make copies of it, and they could send it to all their friends and show everybody your junk. And then the other thing also, as you said too, is, in the old days, you better swear to God you get a good shot, because you might have 12 pictures and they're all bad, because you can't go in there and say, "Nope, don't like it, delete, delete, delete." No, that was it. You took the picture, boom, you just hope to God you got what you wanted, and then it looked good. And sometimes it worked out, sometimes it didn't. So
the
struggle is real.
Yeah, the struggle. I was like, Ain't no struggle here. The biggest struggle is, like, how long does it take you to fill up your 16 gig camera with pictures, and now you got to start going through them and deleting them. Hysterical. But that was just something that I was just like, this is just freaking ridiculous. But again, getting back to what I was saying about the whole technology thing, and the struggle, and we've talked about this, and I've had these conversations with my kids. It was like my daughter is amazed when I tell her stories, and she's like, but how did you know where your friends were? And how did you get together? And I said, you want to know something? It's simple. We didn't have these things. Okay. That case is looks like it's got a medical issue. But hey, one of the now I grew up in Brooklyn, which is a lot different from places where a lot of other people. There was a lot of people in a very small area. So, and we walked everywhere, or we jumped on the train or a bus. Okay, but the kids in the neighborhood, on a Friday night, at one time there was like on my corner, there used to be about 50 kids that used to congregate, at least for a certain amount of time, and then there was cliques that used to separate out. But I mean, one time everybody on the block decided that we were going to go to the beach. There was 40 guys and girls going to the beach. We took 2 train cars when we went to the train station, with coolers and everything. But we used to talk to each other face to face, and we call each other up on the telephone. We'd actually use a landline, a phone, and we'd use it for the intentions that it was made for. We'd speak into it, which is one of the things that my kid, because I love calling my kid up on the phone. We need throat sucking candy.
I guess our throats are sounding raw to her, I guess.
Yes, that's the way my throat always sounds.
And am I the only one that realizes that Yoda's voice is like basically the Cookie Monster? I mean, has anybody ever made that connection? It's the Cookie Monster.
I guess they might have. Yeah, it's Frank Oz though who did all that. So yeah, it's the same. So basically, his voice sounded vaguely familiar from the Muppet Show. So or Sesame Street or whatever. So yeah. Absolutely.
Cookie.
Do not. Exactly, that's right.
Do or do not. But don't do it to my cookie. Leave my cookie alone.
Zen Cookie Monster.
But yeah, that doesn't hurt my throat to do that. I don't do anything to my throat when I'm doing that. It feels painful.
It's just weird. I do weird things.
Yeah, it's like when I do my Arnold Schwarzenegger voice to freak out my kids. Yeah, it doesn't hurt my throat. So
yeah, get to the chopper
now. Get to the chopper now. No. Get me some lozenges.
Okay, so speaking of Arnold, have you heard that they're re-releasing Terminator 2 in 3D?
I just saw something on Facebook today. They released a trailer. I thought they were, but let's see. It was 92, so I guess that was 25 years. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. That's really kind of cool, actually. I mean, to have Cameron go back in there and especially in 3D, I think it might be really, particularly the way 3D is now, could be very spectacular, actually.
The other thing that I saw earlier this week, what's the director guy from Aliens?
Ridley Scott. Mm-hmm.
Ridley Scott, you're a nice old man, but you need to read a couple of books, because Ridley Scott is deathly afraid that the aliens really are going to come, and the only reason they're going to come here is to eat us. And that's not going to happen, Mr.
Yeah, I saw
Scott.
that too.
We've spoken about this on the show, and one of the things I am afraid of aliens coming here and not eating us, but maybe they want the real estate. I don't know what they would use it for. I mean, potentially maybe they want water or whatever. Maybe they want to take the sun. You don't know what aliens would want, but they're not coming here to eat us. Okay. And that's like a scientific fact, because the chemistry of this planet, we've had this discussion, is everything on this planet came from this planet. So there's a chemistry that we all kind of share, and that's why we can eat things. We can't eat everything, like you can't eat rocks, but there's things that we can't eat, but the chemistry matches. Aliens come from a different planet. Planet has different chemistry. It could be almost exactly like the Earth, with same atmosphere, same distribution of water and land mass, but the makeup of the rocks and the history of itself, the planet will makeup, and that will determine what kind of proteins and what kind of life evolves there, and that life will be the result of that planet's chemistry. Okay, and we won't be able to cross-eat each other. We might even have a hard time, like if you went to an alien planet that was exactly like the Earth for all intents and purposes, but different chemistry. We wouldn't be able to plant seeds there because the chemical makeup of the soil may or may not be such that it would promote the growth of our sort of life. So there you go. There goes the truth, Mr. Ridley Scott.
Yeah, just go back to making the movies. Don't think about too much. Martian's a great movie, buddy.
And I think he has like one of the great distinctions of making a sequel that most people feel is better than the original. A lot of people, I like Aliens better than I like Alien.
Well, no, Alien was Ridley Scott. Aliens was James Cameron, but Ridley Scott was the one who was
James Cameron, rather.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and like that. But at the same time, Ridley's doing a new Alien movie called Alien Covenant, which is coming out in a couple weeks. So.
Yeah. And Alien scared the shit out of me, okay? Because that was one scary as fucking Alien. Okay, I'm just gonna say, there you go, props. I'm gonna try and give you props, but you see, I gave James Cameron props, and I didn't realize that.
Well, no, it's I got it, but no, but he did the original Alien, and he's doing this sequel, Alien Covenant. He did Prometheus, he did The Martian. He had that era with Russell Crowe, did Gladiator and a few other ones as well. So,
and before we go, in my office we had an interesting little conversation. We were talking about The Matrix, and I liked the first two movies. Last movie, but like I saw The Matrix. Sci-fi's been showing up like crazy, but I watched the movie. Not on Sci-fi, so they're Sci-fi, right? I watched the movie and I was like, something? I think it's still kind of with the special effects and stuff. Like if they wanted to reboot that series, it had some really cutting edge special effects, especially with the camera that they developed. That effect with the cameras in a circle, and we got around to talking about the Wachowski brothers or Wachowski brothers or whatever their name was, and I happened to throw out. I says, "Well, it's not the Wachowski brothers anymore because I know one of them had a sex change." So, and one of the other guys was like, "Nah, you're pulling my." Like I said, Google it. I'm telling you,
it's the truth.
Google it. One of them, it's the truth. One of them had a sex change. He Googled it. They both had sex changes.
Yeah.
And I was like, I knew one had a sex change, but they both had sex changes. And then my buddy starts laughing. I was like, I got a story. I got a picture of these ladies, and he said something not very nice about them being really ugly. And I kind of vaguely remember them being kind of odd looking as men. So, and then I saw the picture of them as women, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
one of them Lana became the female first, and then I think her brother thought, oh, it's kind of neat, and I guess he did it too. So we'll see what's going on with them. And then there's the rumors now is that they are thinking of, as you mentioned, rebooting the Matrix, but not really rebooting it. Maybe doing like a prequel where they're doing young Morpheus. Doing like something that happened, how he got into, how he was the one that got out of the Matrix and how he was able to get all the people together, the Rebel Alliance, whatever you want to call it, together, and then led himself to Neo. That they're contemplating that. Once again, we've talked about this too. Hollywood has no original ideas anymore. They're just rehashing stuff with some slight changes here and there. So
yeah, it's weird. I mean, right now. Right now, it's geek culture that kind of rules the box office. The big blockbusters are your Star Wars and your comic book movies and your Transformer movies, and then you get movies like Fast and Furious, which are I lump those in with like the James Bond movies and the Mission Impossible movies, where they rely a lot on the action and the explosions and the special effects than story. But if you really want to watch shitty movies with shitty stories, lately in my house, somebody's been watching a lot of Lifetime Movie Network. Talking about some horrible shit, dude. There was a movie on the other day, which even the wife was like, "Okay, I'm checking out," and she's the one who's putting it on.
No, I just love Lisa Marie Bowman. She tears them apart when she reviews them. It's hilarious.
This lady's a cop, dude. She's a cop. It's the end of this movie. Someone killed her husband, who was a cop, and she's like investigating it. And her partner's going to this warehouse, and he gets in there, and the guy that's behind the whole thing, hears a noise, and he goes chasing, and he sees the cop outside. He takes one shot. He goes down, and she pulls up and sees this. So, one shot, this guy takes out the other cop. All of a sudden, there are bullets going left and right. They're worse than stormtroopers. But then, it gets even better. She decides to turn her back, and she runs away and jumps back in her car. The guy doesn't decide to start shooting. He jumps into his car, and it's a car chase. He crashes into some boxes. She goes and looks in the car. He's gone. He goes all the way across town, and she just leaves. She just leaves. Her partner got shot. She just left. Okay? He gets cross town, goes to the hospital where her sick daughter is, and kidnaps her daughter out of the hospital. Okay? And then he gets all the way back to this warehouse, and she's out looking for them. Like, she goes back to the hospital in her car. He gets there and back before she can, and she's driving, and he's dragging a kid with asthma. I was like, really? Seriously? Like, and the funny thing is, there was a house. There was like a house, like a warehouse / industrial area, an office, and a hospital where the 4 locations that this movie was shot in. And so my kid I just start laughing, and my kid's like, "Why are you laughing?" I said, "Because the hospital and the office are the same place." I said, "How do you know?" I said, "Well, look out the window, okay, and it's the same scenery in the background, but look at the windows. The windows, they were big windows, and they had these black frames, big black frames, and then there was a frame here, and then there was a smaller portion on the bottom, okay, and all of the offices had the same type of design, like they were glass offices, so you could see into the office from outside." So the corner office was this lady's office, the cop's office, when she was undercover at this company. It was the kids' hospital room. And whenever they had a shot where they were looking back into the office, they just had these green curtains up, right? And then in the background, they had people in scrubs just walking back and forth. So it gave it a hospital-y feel, and they had like the IVs and stuff. And I was like, this is hysterical. Like they had, like the budget must have been like $20,000 to film this movie,
That's funny
or
shit.
50,000. like I would just like I tuned out, and I mean, we could rip these movies apart as Snark Alex, but I mean, my wife's like, "Oh, the movies you watch are bad." I said, "No, they're not, because the thing is, something impossibly unbelievable is happening in my movies. Okay, this is supposed to be like real life drama." And I'm like, "No, it's not."
That's awesome.
They are funny, but yeah. Oh, I left out one show that I'm watching. I am watching Mountain Monsters, which has gone to the ridiculous. Okay, it has gone to the ridiculous. They have actually brought down the fourth wall in this latest episode, because the cameramen are like part of the story now and shit. So I'm a couple of episodes behind, but I'm gonna catch up, because I've been doing stuff on Saturday, and I don't think I'm doing something on this Saturday, so I'll have a chance to catch up on all that crap.
What channel is it on? Because Scott said we need to get Dylan onto it somehow.
Yeah, it is on Destination America.
Okay, I don't know if I have that. I might not have that. Yeah, that might be why I'm not watching it.
Comes on at 10 o'clock. And the problem is, Doctor Who goes like an hour and 5 minutes, because they throw extra commercials in there. So when Doctor Who ends, if I'm watching Doctor Who live, I switch over, and I rewind the show, and I catch up. And they always play at least the previous episode, and they may marathon up to when the new episode comes up. I don't know, but I know they at least usually play they do the Walking Dead thing, where they play the previous episode just prior to the fresh
The new
one
episode, right? Mm-hmm.
coming up. But yeah, see if you have that channel, because it's hysterical. It's just like every other reality TV show out there, because they do the same thing. Like the guy will come on and say, "We gotta go into that forest, and we gotta go find that Bigfoot," and then the next scene will be that same guy that you just saw, doing his solo speech, standing in front of the 3 guys, and he'll go, "We got to get into that forest and find that Bigfoot," and then they all turn around and they walk into the forest. It's hysterical. And the thing is, I hate reality TV shows, because I know they're bullshit. I know the show's bullshit, but I like the guys. They are likable people. They're not, people that are being bitchy to each other and shit, for the most part.
Right.
That network also has Ghost Brothers on Friday nights, which is kind of funny to watch. These are like African American dudes that are going into haunted houses and stuff, and doing investigations.
Oh, cool.
And they scare the shit out of each other. They're pretty funny. They're likable. They do have a good likability factor.
Nice.
So the last thing that we wanted to talk about tonight was Comic Book Day, which is Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
what you have before for that?
It's just, yeah, it's something that I've worked in. I worked at Diamond for about 4 or 5 years, and it was right in the middle during the free comic book day. It started about 17 years ago, and the main idea was to get people to come into comic book stores that hadn't been in comic book stores in a while and take a look around and see how things have changed. Because back in the early 90s, they were corner basement, dusty, disgusting stores with fat dudes talking about who's stronger, Superman and Batman, stuff like Superman and Batman. And it still is kind of like that, but the stores are a lot cleaner and nicer, streamlined. And it's also the comics are starting to embrace women and people of color and gays and lesbians, stuff like that, and it's good to draw people in. And also want to get the family in, because you can only survive so long with the people who've been reading comics since the 80s, like myself. You need to get new readers in there, so they do have all ages stuff. But Free Comic Book Day was just a way to get people to come to the comic book store and get a wide variety of comic books, not just superheroes, because they've got everything. They got superheroes, they got licensed books, they got independent books, and just go in and get them for free and read them. And if you like them, you can go back to the comic book store and pick up more with the trade paperbacks or the comics or whatever, and just get an idea of like what your store is like. And it's just a way to get people to come into the comic book store. So I just want everybody to go out. I just want everybody to just, if you want to, you don't have to, as I said, but I think it's really kind of neat. It's a neat little event. You just go out to your local comic book store and you get your free comics. Now, if you don't know where your local comic book store is, there is a website. Go to your search engine, just type in Free Comic Book Day, and it should take you, click on the website. It'll show up, be the first or second line there, and it'll take you to the website. It'll have a box. You type your zip code in. It'll give you all the stores that are participating within about a 30-mile radius, and you'll be able to find which one you want to. Go in and get your free comic. Now, there are so many different kinds, and not every store buys all of them. Every store has certain rules when it comes to free comic books. Now, the one rule that I want to stress more than anything is, if you go to a store and they say you have to buy something to get a free comic book, turn around and leave that store. That is not the point of this. Everybody who created Free Comic Books Day, which are the retailers, they say, no, we're giving away free comic books. You don't have to buy, no purchase necessary. You come in, you get a free comic book, you leave. Now, some stores, they put a limit. They put 1, 2, 5, and then others just say, take as many as you want. My store, luckily, near me, they said, take whatever you want. Take as many as you want. So you go in, you grab. I always come out with a stack about this big. The kids get a bunch, and it's a fun little thing. People dress up in cosplay stuff. They also have special events going on at the store. Sometimes they have the creative people, writers, artists, whatever, signing books, doing pictures for you. They have cosplayers, so you can take pictures with Thor and Spider-Man and Deadpool and stuff like that. Radio stations sometimes do live broadcasts from there. And then the stores themselves, they might be doing 50% off of trades and toys and other stuff they have there, because it's not just comics now. They've got trade paperbacks, they got books, they got toys, they got t-shirts, they got gaming stuff, they got glassware. My store has a bunch of tumbler mugs that have superheroes on them. It's really cool. And this week is 50% off everything. So you can go in there. You don't have to buy anything. As I said, go and get your free comic books and leave. But if you want to just take a look around, and maybe if you haven't read in a while and you want to see, hey, what's going on with Guardians of the Galaxy, you can find the trades and you can buy 2 for the price of 1, basically, if they're 50% off. Now, every store, as I said, they do their own thing. So they'll do their own events. They'll have their own people. It just depends on, what they're doing. And sometimes it just might be, here's a free comic book, take it, just come to the store. But I just want people to get into the comic book store and maybe get a chance to, maybe experience that comic books are no longer just for males, and they're not just about superheroes. There are a wide variety of comic books out there for everybody. And to me, I'm going to stick by this. It helped me learn how to read. Yes, there's pretty pictures, but there's also lots of words in the bubbles. And looking at the pictures over and over again, and eventually reading the story as well, got me into reading novels now. Like, I'm reading regular novels now. I'm reading a biography right now of a former Baltimore commissioner, police commissioner. So, it led me to that. So I'm always will be grateful for comic books, and I want other people just to go in and experience it and see all kinds of stuff. As I said, my daughter, there's like 4 or 5 books just for young girls based on popular things. There's a show called it's like Extraordinary or something like that. They got a comic for that. The Loud House, there's a comic book. Monster High, they're doing a comic book for. DC Superhero Girls, they're doing a free comic book for. So a lot of stuff she's interested in, they're doing comic books for. So she'll be able to take that and stuff like that. So I just, as I said, don't take my word for it, but just check it out. It's something fun. You know, it's something fun just real quick on a Saturday. As I said, people might have, special events going on. My place also gives away free T-shirts. You go in there, you get a T-shirt. You don't have to buy anything. Just grab a free T-shirt, put it on. It's great. So go Free Comic Book Day Saturday, all day probably. Just check the hours. As I said, check the website, Free Comic Book Day, and type in your zip code, and you'll find one nearby you. And that's all I got on that.
Okay, so I have decided that I am never going to read a book if it is part of a series that has not been completed yet. And the reason I say that is because I'm reading a book now that I think is part of a trilogy, and the trilogy is completed. And so far, I'm loving it. And I don't want to say what it is because I don't want to jinx it. But I think there might be more stuff coming. And I've gotten, had this conversation before about an author going and dying. George R.R. Martin may keel over at any second now if he doesn't get his weight down and stuff, only because he's out there partying and stuff. I'm still waiting for that last book to come out for the Game of Thrones. Have you gotten all the way caught up on that?
I haven't gotten at all. Not at all.
Because I know we had a conversation, and I know that you had. Did you have a season on DVD or something?
We have 4 seasons on DVD. We haven't gotten the most recent one yet, and we actually just lent them all to my sister-in-law because they are getting. They've been watching it on demand. They said, "Why don't we just, if you have the DVDs, we'll just pop them in there and you can watch it, the same way." Dawn's read all the books, so she's caught up on the books. We haven't watched the show yet. We watched the first episode.
You haven't watched the shows at all?
No, at all.
Okay, all right. Just asking because I know that at one point you were like real gung ho and you were gonna watch, and
yeah, I get gung ho about a lot of stuff and then don't do anything about it. So
yeah, no, it's because it's one of that is another story that's gonna be iconic, and I'm going to put myself out on a limb, but I'm going to say this could surpass The Lord of the Rings, which I'm not a fan of stories. There's other authors who put out stuff that much better than that. But that's just my opinion, and you could say I'm wrong, but I'm not. But Game of Thrones has a fan base that is as strong and as vocal as the Star Wars and the Star Trek people, and your token followers. You see what I did there? I made a jokey poo. So. Coming up next month, we will probably talk a little bit about Snarkstock, and we will talk about having something. So, would you be interested in doing something, just like a dinnerish type thing in the Philly area, or maybe we could find a spot that's like halfway between Philly and Baltimore, and that way it's like an hour ride for you and like an hour and a half for me. It'll be longer for people coming further north, but
right.
I know AJ is interested, and Nicole and Jay and Mike.
And I'm sure we could probably get Heather in there as well because she's right there in Delaware. So,
yeah, and Mike said that he would, because Mike is planning on attending Snarkstock, and he said he'd definitely be, if it's going to be, a closer place dinner type thing, that he would definitely.
Again, it depends timing. I think September probably be a better time. Not the first weekend, not Labor Day weekend, because we're going to a wedding in Rhode Island. But other than that, no, anything's free. And plus, we've never really done anything really in the fall as much per se. So
yeah. Well, I mean, if like I said, end of September, still nice weather out. It's still. Before holidays, before Halloween, before any of the mumbo jumbo BS starts up. So, a nice little, even if we found a nice little pub where everybody just had burgers and French fries,
right, yeah,
just hang out. Nothing big, but we'll see how it goes. So, you did mention a date at the beginning of the show.
Well, yeah, I was looking at we can either do June 1st or June 8th. I was always thinking June 8th just because that's right before Snark Stock. Or we could do June 1st if you want to. I'm sorry.
When is your birthday?
June 20th.
June 20th. June 20th. Well, that's a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, June 8th sounds good.
June 8th?
June 8th. Yep.
We'll put June 8th down for new episode of the SNEWS. Right in my notes.
June 8th. And anything going on in the Dylan Knows world of stuffs?
Just my usual show. Sunday will be MJ and I talking comics. We'll talk some Free Comic Book Day because it's on Sunday, day after. We're going to do a review of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I'm going to see it tomorrow, and MJ's going to see it over the weekend sometime. So we always like to do our spoiler. It's totally filled with spoilers. I'll tell you that right now. We spoil everything about the movie. And then there's some other slight comic book-y type of notes coming up, or interesting stories coming up, if we might fit into that. But yeah, it's just going to be mostly Guardians of the Galaxy 2 on Sunday, 12:30. Other than that, nothing really major after that. Jerry and I will be doing our list show sometime in May. We don't know. We just did it last week due to travel and stuff like that. It might not be till later on. But other than that, it's just going to be every Sunday. Usually, I've been doing a lot more Sundays. Which is, I was doing a lot of Saturdays for a while, and now I'm doing a lot of Sundays, which is good. So that's it. So Sunday, 12:30 p.m., MJ Khan and myself talking Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and other comic book stuff as well. So that's all I got.
And with that, I really have to pee. So we're going to end this. So we'll see you June 8th, and thanks to you for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Yep. Thanks for watching.